Three, two, one. Hey, internet friends, this is Magic Brad with the Magic Brad Show. And we had some difficulties getting on, but that's the way of the world these days. And I've got a fellow magician online. His name is Dan Chan. Is it Dan Chan, the Magic Man? Should we do that?
Yep, that is correct.
How you doing today?
Doing good.
Your day's almost done. It's you're on, well, not late night, but you're out on the West Coast, aren't you?
That's correct. But I still have one performance right after our taping. So
there we go. It's interesting you say taping. There's no tape anymore. It's all digital, right?
that's correct.
So, I've been doing magic since I was a kid, and then I evolved into the event industry, and I was producing trade shows and events. Then this COVID thing came along, and it put the brakes on all events, and people had to get innovative and creative, and you've done that, right? You've kind of moved on to the Zoom world of things as far as your performances.
Yeah, since March, I have done about 200 plus shows.
Really?
Almost starting from like street performing wise, and then bringing it to the corporate stage. December 1st, we ended up doing 11 shows on that one day. So
it's a totally different world of being able to connect with the people. And like with magic, you need that audience interaction. It's not like passive like music. It's something you have to actually engage with the audience. What kind of things do you do that allow people to actually engage and connect when you're doing the magic?
yeah, I'll show you a sample or two later. But one of the things that I feel is the connection is hearing their voice. And a lot of people have been saying, oh, we just keep people muted. I like selecting 5, 6, 7 people and keep them unmuted if they are in a quiet area. And I mentioned during the show, if I hit the mute all, don't take it personal. It just means that there's a little bit of noise. Feel free to unmute yourselves right afterwards. Sure. And that allows them to really connect. It does get sticky when you're performing for 100 or 200 families. But for the most part, if you're working for corporations, having everyone stay unmuted gives you that connection that we're all longing for.
It's kind of like at a comedy club, before the show starts, they ask you to keep your conversation down to a minimum.
Yeah.
Right? And you're in control with that. You can kind of mute them out so they keep their conversation down to zip. Now, yeah. Your whole family is in entertainment. Is that correct? Isn't your son a juggler and all that stuff too?
Yeah, my son by age 5, he was performing with me. By age 8, he was juggling 5 balls. By age 10, 3 flaming torches and picking pockets for real. And then by age 12, he was already on national television twice, performing on Access Insider for Penn and Teller and Tiffany Haddish on Kids Say the Darndest Things.
That's really cool. And your wife, I think, is a balloon sculptor?
Yeah, she is a world-class balloon sculptor. She's made balloons that take over 12 hours to make. So it's pretty amazing doing it.
I can imagine. I can do a poodle and a little beagle dog, and that's about it.
Same here. That's what I used to be able to do, and I don't even know if I can do those anymore.
It's good when I was doing the restaurant work and stuff like that to be able to have something that the kids can actually take home and all that kind of stuff. But as far as getting into there's even a certification, a balloon artist certification. I think there's something like that for that kind of thing too.
Yeah, there's like it's called a CBA, I believe, or
yeah.
certified
balloon artist. Yes. So you live in Northern California or Southern California?
I live in Fremont, California, close to Facebook and Google.
Okay, up in the techie world. So I suppose you do a lot of work for the tech people.
Yeah, Google has hired me over 30 plus times, Facebook multiple times, Netflix, LinkedIn. In fact, I have another event. I just did an event for Google just earlier today.
So where do you, I like to sometimes pull the information out of other performers. Where are you with when people say, well, I'm a magician, and then they go, well, kids like magic. I'm too sophisticated. Usually it goes towards a child. How do you work your way around that? And I'm assuming you do this full time, so you have a fairly significant fee. You know, people are thinking like $200 for a kiddie birthday party when maybe you're in the $5,000, $10,000 range.
Yeah, I remember a couple years past, I was doing birthday parties at 1,000 and 1,500. but those aren't often. You'll get those. But if you're doing a lot of corporate event or people asking specifically for you, you can charge that much. But I don't get insulted anymore when people say, "Oh, my kids would love magic." I would say, I would joke with them during the show. If your mom and dad love you, they're going to get the birthday party, get the magician for your birthday party. And sometimes they're a little bit shocked at the price tag when they say, "Hey, how much does everything cost?" But that gives me a good segue to say, if you can't afford me, hire my son.
Oh,
People
very
people
good.
are a little bit stunned when I do that. Yeah.
Got to start somewhere, right? Work your way up. Yeah, that's the way it all works. So do you work with like some of the organizations like Meeting Professionals International and organizations like that?
Not that often, but this morning I did something for e-speakers. I was one of their guest speakers.
Okay,
So e-speakers is a great organization. Once in a while, they'll promote me. I was on their Bureau Blast and some of their other marketing services, and just because the founder is good friends with me, we did a in-kind trade. So I was featured in front of 1,000+ people
good move.
just recently, and that was a very profitable exchange,
Good
win-win.
move. Good move. Because some magicians, they think, well, I don't do anything for free. It isn't necessarily free. It's an exchange of energy. And if you're doing it for the right audience, you should be out in front of that audience. Like Meeting Professionals International is an international organization of meeting planners. So if you can get in front of their face, that's a good place to be. And you should be paying them to be in front of their people.
They in fact do that sometimes. They try to get you to do that. I would yes, this morning's event, I had several events this morning, but one of them was for the Canadian Speaker Association, and they liked me so much, e-speakers, they asked me, can I do this event for them? I said, no, to be honest, here are my rates, but I'm willing to work an in-kind trade. But you have to be good enough that they're willing to do that sort of trade, because often if your marketing doesn't match up to the expectations, even if you offer that you're sending the wrong message.
Yeah, and I've seen creative ways of getting compensation. Sometimes it isn't necessarily just cutting a check. There's other ways of making things work, because sometimes people don't have budgets. But when they do have the budgets, they're definitely willing to spend it. And I think magic is one of the better things to spend it on, in my opinion. That magic is kind of universal. It's all over the globe. It's not bound by any gender or age. Everything from 8 to 80, it's everybody really likes it. And the ability with magic is magic. You can do anything with magic. Doesn't matter. You can make Statue of Liberty disappear, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever done do you do any illusion work, or pretty much parlor, or what?
I do one illusion. I might be able to show it to you right now, but let me just put some music on and see if we can do that simple illusion for you guys.
Okay, that'd be very good. Very cool.
And oh, you disabled screen sharing. So in order to do that, I need to type in the music so it's quality music.
Oh,
So it's a direct
is there a
screen
way
share.
for me to do that? So if I do advanced screen share,
Yep. Allow all participants.
or multiple participants can share simultaneously. There we go.
Let's see if that works.
Cool. Excellent.
I didn't
Some
know you
people
were going to
can't.
ask me to show you an illusion, but you always stay prepared.
I agree. That's always an interesting thing. And you can't say, oh, I don't have anything with me. You're a magician. You should be able to pull it right out of a hat, right?
What I love about these Zoom shows is the value we can deliver to our clients now. Before, if I were to do an illusion like that, I'd stress out on my angles. I'd stress out on if there's the catering door right next to you, typically the stage is right next to the catering door at people walking in and out. So you can't do stuff like that often, right?
Right.
You'll reveal the secret to all the hotel staff, right?
Let's talk about that a little bit. The recordings of these I expect to go out to clients and things, potential clients within the event planners and such, because that's my background, but also us magicians. There's that thing about the revelations, exposing and teaching magic publicly. Personally, I'm against it. I see it on YouTube and Zoom. What's your take on that? The expose, showing how the things are done, whether you're teaching or just exposing it for your ego's sake. What's your take on that?
You know, the culture is changing over time, and you have to go with the culture and not, you have to understand that people make a living at it. So when you're exposing tricks that professionals are using, you're hurting someone's livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's getting some kid into learning how to do a French drop or a basic, it's not going to hurt my living. But there's some guys who are showing some really good stuff, and I'm like, why are you doing that? This first isn't your intellectual property. You didn't invent this, and this is too close. Now you're stepping on a lot of places where you're giving away something that's not yours to give away. If you invented it and you're the creator, sure. Or if the creator passes and there's nothing with it, maybe things should change it. I feel that even if something's shared, you can get fooled by a different version of the same trick. And I teach that in my med talk. I teach the key card principle, then I fool you with it with Gemini twins.
Which is code for something that lay people don't understand.
Yeah, well, if they want to learn it, they're more than welcome to learn it, but it's in that gray area where it's still a little bit beginner material that leads you to intermediate. And when I was at the $250 price point, I was doing tricks like that. And I still think some professionals still can do tricks like that and still make a good living at it. But I think if you're only solely doing that, I think you're behind in the times, and you should be willing to learn more and reinvest in yourselves, because certain things become outdated.
Well, I think that it really doesn't make much difference how small of an insignificant a trick it is, because I didn't want to use the word trick, more illusion or perception shifter or experience. It could be something very small and simple and basic, but if you do it right, you can create a very magical moment for someone to experience. So that's why I think that exposing it publicly, it's a disservice to the person that loves magic. My wife loves magic. She doesn't want to know how it's done. So if she was cruising around on YouTube looking at stuff and she saw the revelation, she would be hurt because you took the magic away from her. You follow?
So I agree, but I would agree to say to that extent, but you have to let people know, hey, if you don't want to learn that secret, feel free to shut off your screens right now. I think there should be a price to entry, but I think you should also give them a small tad bit where they can keep the magic going, because if the secret died with us.
Well, I don't think it should die. I think they should be able to get access to it, but not public access.
Yeah.
You should have to go through the door first. Otherwise, it's almost like, you walk in on someone in a locker room and they're naked, they cover up. It shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in a locker room might be okay, but in a general space, that might not be a good analogy, but I like to have some fun. I think that you're taking some magic away. And I had some conversation with Xavier Spade. I don't know if you know that name.
Okay, yes.
Him and I had a conversation on it. It's on my YouTube channel about it. And he had some very valid points that you can look at the sawing in half illusion when everybody knows it was fake feet. Then all of a sudden, it's not fake feet. How do they do that? Then I think it was the Pendragons did it with a clear box. How do they do that? So there is ways of upgrading the illusion, and you could fool people over and over again with a different variation, but still it takes away the magic. It's almost like ho, 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 and then you find out it's your dad.
You know what's okay, once you get fooled with one version of a trick, then when you see that upgraded version, you still get fooled by it.
Yeah.
So even though like throughout a career, if I didn't learn that first version of the sawing in half, I don't think I would really appreciate the clearly impossible or the wakeling sawing. So when you see that fake feet, you can understand the evolution. So when you're presenting it, it's okay to call that out and say, hey, this is how they used to do it. Now you framed it so that you're innovative. And that can be part of a presentational hook. To me, that I think is okay to say, hey, you can use a fake foot, but that's kind of like where the limit is. But often I think certain routines by magicians should be retired when you see every magic show doing it. Like for example, the topsy-turvy, the bottles, I see too many people doing that. And I've only seen one or two routines I truly like of that. I think everyone else shouldn't be doing it. And that's just my personal opinion. Or right now, everyone doing the BM project. You know, when
Lincoln.
everyone is doing it, I think we, as a professional, if I'm getting paid, I shouldn't be doing what everyone else is doing. And that's just a pure artistic thing. Because if I'm, for example, charging multiples of what, you know, some of the hobbyists are doing, which there's a lot of hobbyists doing this for a part-time side gig. Why would they choose me? So I'm of that school. Once everyone starts fleeing to it, I'm gone. I'm already gone from there.
I think part of the reason they choose you because you are you. You're dependable,
Yep.
you're experienced, you're fun, you're entertaining. That's why they choose you over someone that is bumbling around, not knowing exactly what they're doing because they do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
So they know that you're going to show up where somebody else might say, oh, I'm sorry I didn't make it to the corporate event. My wife wanted me to mow the lawn. The show must go on, right, as a professional.
Yeah, but there's things like an invisible deck. A lot of people are doing the invisible deck, and it's great and it kills. But the barrier to entry was it was sold in almost every single magic shop, and it was the first thing we sold. And I worked at the magic shops, and that's what we were encouraged to sell. So if I'm selling that to all the guys coming into the magic shop, and my presentation is only marginally improved beyond that, I don't think I should be doing it. And that's just a personal artistic statement.
And it definitely depends on where you're doing it, because if you know, Target Corporation is that audience have never seen the invisible deck, doesn't even know what it is, and if they're entertained by your ability to entertain, then it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's sometimes, look at Blackstone. He entertained people with just a deck of cards or a piece of rope.
Yeah, and I agree. And I have some things that I do really strong that are just like, I still do an ambitious card, but there's certain things that I've tried to weed away from. So
yep, you want to keep stuff fresh, and just for yourself, just to keep yourself on, you know, doing new stuff.
Can I show you something new that I've been working on?
Sure, let's do this as a kind of a closure. We'll close this thing off. We can have a little chat after, but let's see what you got going on here. I like your little stand and everything, especially prepared for Zoom audiences. So let's see it.
Yeah, in a moment, Brad, I'm going to have you name a playing card. Okay.
Okay.
What playing card would you like?
You want me to name it now?
Yeah, well, we have a card right here. Do you notice our card?
I do. I can see it right there. With it.
Yeah.
You want me to name right now?
Yeah, go ahead and name the card that you're thinking of.
Queen of Clubs.
Queen of Clubs.
Yes.
Now, is there any reason why you chose the Queen of Clubs?
It was the first one that popped into my head as soon as you said that.
You know, some magicians subtly influence people. And
that.
I think we have right here a very subtly influenced card, because underneath the paper clip, you can actually see there's a Q and a clubs. Queen of Clubs. And that
well, look at that. You read my mind. And we did not stage this, folks. That was great. Very cool. So that's one of the things I just love about magic is there's almost nothing you can't do. You can read minds, you can make things levitate, you can make things change places, you can make them grow, you can just shift the perception of reality. Is there any
I
parting
love,
thoughts that you have? You might want to share your website. How do people get a hold of you if say I want to do a Zoom show, or I'm assuming when COVID's done, you can fly around the world and show up at their location. How do they find you?
I'm at danchanmagic.com and also Dan Chan Magic on Instagram.
Dan Chan Magic. So DANCHAN magic.com.
That's
Well,
correct.
that's wonderful. Dan, I appreciate you taking the time to share some of your knowledge, wisdom, and experience with us. And I'm going to beam this up to the internet, put it out on YouTube, and I'll send you a link too. And if you can help me propagate that out to the world, that'd be much appreciated. So I'm going to close this off. If you want to stay in the green room, I'd like to have a little chat with you after, okay?
Awesome.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Nice round of applause for Dan. Good job.